Hi there, my name is Marjorie Gast and I am a 500-hour RYT and I'm also an actor, so I'm going to give you some tools today to use pre-class, pre-performance if you just need to relax, but not only actors but artists or people in general could benefit from this. So for this class you'll need a soft surface. If you don't have a yoga mat, that is okay, but just something where you can find some cushioning for your knees and joints. If you have a blanket or a towel handy, I would recommend having that. And if you have a zafu or a pillow from your bed would even work. I have this bolster here that I'm going to use today. Really, it's just whatever you have on hand and that you can grab really easily as you're on your mat. So, we are actually going to start on the ground because it is always best to work from the ground up. If you would like, you can also put on some music. Sometimes that can be distracting, but also sometimes it can be relieving for a busy mind. I recommend no words if you're going to go the music route. But we're going to settle in on the backs here. And already, maybe you're feeling where you're experiencing some tightness or tension in the body. And from there, let's give ourselves some grace by bending the knees, turning the toes in to face one another, heels out, and then allowing the knees to knock in together. Now it might feel better to even walk the feet further apart and follow that same procedure of toes in, heels out, knees together. See what you can do to maybe bring the full low back to the mat. Adjust as needed. And right away we'll take that right hand over the belly and the left hand over the heart. And perhaps we take the first conscious breath of maybe the day. And another. And one more, finding center. If it feels comfortable, the eyes can fall closed here. And as we begin to tap deeper into the breath, we're going to breathe directly into that right hand first. That right hand on the belly as the breath travels up towards the left hand at the chest. And we're just going to reverse that. So the exhale starts at the left hand and travels down the torso all the way until the belly empties, the right hand lowering. Again, that's inhale to the right hand at the belly. Fill all the way to the top of the chest. Maybe pause for a moment at the top and then fall back down with that breath from left hand at the chest to right hand at the belly. And you can choose here whether you'd like to breathe in through the nose or through the mouth. Maybe it's a combination of both. Often breathing in and out through the mouth can cool the body, while breathing in and out through the nose can warm the body. So tapping into what you need, if you need some more heat or if you need some more coolness. All the while we're softening the face here. And at any point during the class, you feel like making a nice little sigh, you're more than welcome to voice, your communication. As actors, we primarily use that, right? So getting a little bit of warmth into that voice. 2 more breaths, breathing from right hand to left hand, and exhaling from left hand to right hand. As we're ready, let's take that right arm out like a goalpost and the left arm out like a goalpost, like we were cactuses. This opens up in the shoulder, and that's really what we're going to focus on today. Rather than the intention of stretching, we're going to hone in on opening. Rather than peak poses, we're going to find movement. And there's no right or wrong as we move forward. Let's stick with the breath. We might notice some more space in the chest as we've changed the shape of the arms here. And as usual, we are always trying to work with intentions. What are we trying to do to the other person in a scene? And much like acting, we do the same in yoga. What are we trying to do in our practice? And so that collective intention here is going to be that opening. A nice deep breath in and a full breath out. One more deep breath in and a full breath out. If you feel called to find another personal intention specific to what you need, that's always welcome. But together we'll focus on opening, whatever that means to you. And let's take a moment here to notice if the chin is jutting upwards. If we notice it is, let's bring it down towards the collarbone, still resting the back of the skull on the mat. Just lengthening that cervical spine, giving us a lot of space in the back of the neck. Let's take the gaze over to the right shoulder. Eyes can even stay closed for this. Inhale, we'll take the gaze up to sky. Exhale, gaze over towards left shoulder. And follow this sort of rainbow shape on the breath, beginning to connect breath and movement together, however subtle. Asking for some space in the neck, the front of the throat, the back of the neck, the back of the head, maybe even pressing a little bit into the skull for some massage. And as we come back to center, bring some organic movement into the body. Maybe we wiggle toes, fingers, wrists, ankles, knees. And let's take those feet out wider than hip distance. Then allowing gravity to let both knees fall over towards the right. Maybe the gaze comes over to the left, starting to twist the spine. Hands resting wherever feels comfortable and best for you. The inhale takes the knees up towards sky. The exhale takes the knees to the opposite side. And just like before, one breath to movement, that rainbow shape of the knees up and over on an exhale. And then the opposite side, up and over on an exhale. Maybe we notice some tightness in the hips here, very common. Don't beat yourself up, we let go of judgments. We're trying to open, not create more pain, not create more tightness, but release. Let's take one or so more on each side. And when we come back to center, walk those feet in and bring that right knee into the chest. We can hold on the back of the thigh. Start rolling out the right ankle, wiggling the toes. We might notice some pops. On a breath out, we'll bring the knee towards the chest, forehead towards the knee, curling from that forehead rather than the middle of the neck. Dropping shoulders down, away from the ears, and let's lower back down to the mat. Exhale, releasing that knee slightly, and we'll do that again. Bring that knee into chest, forehead towards the knee. And release. Full breath in, and we'll take that one more time. Exhale, forehead to knee. And lower down. If we'd like, we can keep that left leg bent or extending it out longer. Let's flex both of the feet here if we are extending that left leg. And we're just going to bring that right knee towards that right armpit and then back towards chest. So like a little quarter turn to the side and then back to center. It might even turn into some circular or oval motions with the knee. Whatever feels right, and then go the opposite direction. Again, we're just moving through motions rather than postures. Let's come back to center and drop that right foot down as left knee comes into chest. Both knees are bent here. Roll out that left ankle all the way to the tips of the toes. Full breath in, exhale, peel shoulders up, forehead comes to the left knee. Inhale, we lower down. Exhale, forehead towards knee. And one more. Remembering there's no amount necessary here. We can either keep that right knee bent or extend the leg out long. Full breath in, slightly release on the left knee. Exhale as we bring that left knee in just a little bit more. And we begin that little quarter turn, bringing that knee towards the armpit, towards the outer edge of the body, and then back into center. Noticing and checking in with the hips. And if you'd like, that can turn into a circular posture. You might even get a little bit of massage happening on the back of the glute, even the low back here. Maybe you go the opposite direction if it feels right. And come back to center. And let's bring both knees into chest. Wiggle out toes. And then we'll start kicking the feet like we were a little child playing in a sandbox. Coming back to stillness for a moment. Feel the full low back on the mat. Exhale, make yourself small. Forehead hugging towards both knees. Elbows down, shoulders down. Full breath in and sigh out as you lower. And just begin pouring the weight right to left here. One more time, really grounding ourselves on the mat before we find a seated posture. We're moving through a lot of gentle motions today just so that we're grounded. Nothing crazy. Coming back to center, and we can rock and roll from nape of neck to tail, taking as many passes as you'd like. A few more rounds of that if it calls. This is a great time to find that zafu or blanket, as we're going to find a seated position. And elevating the hips above the knees relieves a lot of pressure on the low back, on the hips. So if you have something that you'd like to lift the hips up any amount, do so. You're more than welcome. You can also extend legs out long. You could also find a chair. Truly what I'm getting at is it's about comfort and feeling peace where you're at as we find these neck stretches. So let's drop chin to chest. And take a little experiment here. What happens if we lift Rest the gaze, lift the chin. Open the eyes nice and wide. You might feel active here. You might feel really awake here. And see what happens if we drop chin to chest. Let the eyes soften. And ask yourself if you feel that very subtle shift of peaceful energy. By doing this, dropping the chin beneath the forehead, we're quieting the frontal lobes of the body, so we're literally quieting the mind. Let's really drop that chin to chest and then start bringing the right ear over to right shoulder. Taking that left arm out long, stretching fingers, and then let's tense and tighten that left fist. Inhale, stretch fingers, and tense and tighten the fist. Maybe even the bicep squeezes a bit here. One more time. Stretch and reach and tighten the fist. And soften in the palms. Soften in the shoulders. Big breath in. Full breath out. On our next breath in, let's act as though we were skimming water with that left arm, reaching forward and back any amount until we feel just a gentle stretch in the back of the neck or the back of the shoulder even, maybe even the front. And this is again adding motion and breath together. Starting to open in the shoulders. Create a lot of space. So this could be a huge movement to you. It might even be really small and subtle. Whatever is going to tap you into the most ease. Maybe even closing eyes. Let's take 2 or 3 more. And the next time that arm is reaching back, let's stay to breathe here. Maybe dropping that ear more towards the shoulder as chin points more towards the sky. And we'll take that right hand to belly. Find that 3-part breath we began with, breathing into that right hand. And exhaling down into that right hand. Beautiful. Releasing the arms, chin back to chest. Take a quick moment to notice different sides of the body. Again, let's activate that mind. Gaze to sky, eyeballs open. Chin lifts. And on an exhale, chin drops to chest. Dropping that left ear over to left shoulder. And reaching out long with that right arm. Exhale, find that fist. Tighten everything in the arm. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tighten. One more. And tighten. Inhale, reach. And find ease. On a breath in, let's reach ahead like we were skimming the top of water. And exhale back. Follow what you need. Follow what your specific shoulders are asking. We might want to bend the elbow here. The fingers can flutter. Notice where the low back is feeling. Is it feeling tight? Is it feeling soft and gentle? One more. Let's reach on back with that right arm. Maybe dropping that left ear more towards the shoulder, perhaps lifting the chin more towards sky, dropping left shoulder to ground. Beautiful. Let's bring everything back to center. Take that gaze up to the sky. And we're going to find our way to our hands and knees here, moving that blanket or pillow if we had it. Spread the fingers wide. So we'll start by making that a really, really long spread between the thumb and the pinky fingers, creating that Y shape. And then spread your fingers wide, and that's the distance we want to have. We want to have a really firm foundation with our hands. And right away we're going to notice that connection of palms to floor, that hasta bandha, which means hand lock to the mat. And notice if the weight is in the heels of the hands, bring it into the knuckles and the pads of the fingers. The same thing here, we notice even though it's the tops of the feet, it's called pada bandha, foot lock. Pressing those feet down into the mat, find all the places where you can connect. Because when we are doing monologues or scenes, we want to be really rooted in ourselves, in our speech, in our body, so that we can be really receptive. So as we found that foundation, then we're going to act as though the tail we're leading, lifting the tail to the sky, and the rest of the spine follows as the eyeballs lift to the ceiling. The heart yearns forward, and the belly nice and low. And let's find that contrast. That tail leads as it hugs and curls under, and we round. Allow the head to really dangle here. And start flowing back and forth on your own time. We notice every part of the motion here. If you need to add a little wiggle in the middle, that's awesome. If you need to really take your time or move quick, listen to it. Awakening that spine, let's take 2 or 3 more. And land back in center here. Again, we're going to lead with the tail as it takes us back and forward, back into that tabletop. Back for a little quick child's pose and then forward. 2 more just like that, starting to warm up in the shoulders, creating a lot of space in the shoulders and the heart. And the next time we're in that tabletop position, let's take those knees out wider and the toes in to point towards one another. Then sit the hips down and back. So you can choose to rest head on a blanket. You can stack fists under forehead. It might even feel good to take a cushion beneath the tail. Or arms can be outstretched long. As we are here in our child's pose, we're going to imagine the breath beginning at tail and traveling like an elevator all the way up the spine. Like it was a wave lighting up the spine as it lifts up and over the body. Notice the length. Notice any tension that you might be holding here. And we're going to imagine a warm blanket placed on the low back. One more full breath in our child's pose. And pulling ourselves back up, remove any cushioning you were using. And let's take that right leg back, curling toes under here. With those toes curled under, we can press the heel back. So we're giving a nice stretch to the back of the leg. And let's start to bring that belly in, pressing still firmly into those palms. And if we'd like to fire up our core a little bit here, that's where the fire in the belly is, right? We can press so much into those palms, so much into that back foot that that left knee has nowhere to go but up, hovering just a few inches off the mat. Now it's great if you're feeling any kind of tremor here. Releasing left knee to mat. And let's lift those right toes, making sure that we're turning those toes downward rather than opening the hips. And let's tap that right tricep with that right knee near, or give it an actual tap, whatever feels best. And start breathing through these shapes as we extend. And give that either real or imaginary tap to the back of the tricep. Maybe some heat in the face appears here. Livening that body here. Let's take one more. And we're going to hold that right knee towards the tricep. Take the gaze towards the right knee or right shoulder. Re-extend. And we'll take those right toes off the left side of the mat, shortening the left side of the body so that left hip and left shoulder come towards one another as gaze comes towards the right toes, creating a kind of banana shape with the body here. And as if we could, we're going to breathe only into the right lung, as if we could, right? Lots of space, in and out. Open up here, one more breath. The next inhale, come back to center as we extend the leg, and we'll step that right foot through. Rising up, shoulders over hips. That right knee is either behind or right on top of that right ankle. That'll protect the knees. While we're here, I'm going to face you just for a moment. Feet are on two different planes. We're going to take the left hand to the top of the left thigh. And here you might be feeling some tightness. That's where our psoas starts. And it actually connects all the way up into the the lumbar spine. And our psoas is referred to as the muscle of the soul. It's where we store a lot of trauma, a lot of unexpressed emotions. It's the muscle that connects our lower body to our upper body. And this muscle is almost the size of your fist as it goes up and down from that low back to the top of the thigh, the middle of the thigh here. So if we can, imagine that tail pointing down, that psoas lengthening from that mid-spine to mid-thigh, lifting the heart. And we can take hands either to thigh or goalpost. This is opening in the heart. And really take some time to breathe into that maybe stressful feeling that's happening in the left thigh. Adding some movement if we'd like, we're going to pull those elbows towards one another and exhale, palms, elbows, forearms yearn to touch. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we close. 2 more like that. Coming back to that goalpost position, send the heart up. Maybe we sink a little bit more forward. Lift the gaze, lift the eyeballs, energize the mind. And let's find that contrast, chin to chest, calm the mind. Frame the foot here, and we're just going to send the hips back any amount. A nice soft bend into that right knee. Send the hips towards the back of the mat, and say hello to a nice hamstring stretch here. Hands could come onto the leg, they could stay on the floor. The more you can find a neutral spine, the more sensation you might experience. And we're going to start flowing that here. So the inhale will take us forward, hands to the tops of the thighs. Find that engagement by tucking tail, lengthening the psoas. And the exhale will take us back, dropping hips back, heart forward. Flowing at your speed, moving some fascia in the body. Flowing back and forth. Let's take one or two more. Staying in any shape that feels really beneficial to you. So you don't need to go back and forth. You can simply stay in one or create your own shape. You're always welcome. The next time we're forward, let's plant that right palm. Take that right knee back. And before we move on, we notice, we observe. That's what we do as actors, right? We need to be open to receive whatever's coming our way. So be open to notice what the different sides of the body are experiencing right now. Approaching it without judgment. Exhale, finding your child's pose. This time, if you'd like, you can bring knees together, allowing that fold over to happen, forehead landing, and arms extending back. A little bit different than our child's pose, our extended child's pose, which opens up a little bit more of the chest, of the armpits, the low back. This little embryo version of knees together opens up between the shoulders. So whichever one feels right, let's take one more breath in and one more breath out. Coming back into that tabletop, and we'll take left toes back. Spread the toes, spread the fingers. And either staying here, or if you'd like to add that little fire in the belly, lift the right knee. Invite any shaking in the body. One more breath in. And lower that knee. Let's lift the toes. Give that left tricep a tap or a figurative tap. Taking 3 more. Noticing how the hip feels as it moves through. And also here noticing where the mind wanders. What is that essence? What did we show up here for? What is our intention, right? The next time that knee is towards the tricep, let's stay to hold, gaze coming towards left knee. Re-extend and drop those left toes over to the right side of the mat, shortening the right side of the body and creating that sort of banana shape with the left side of the body. As if we could, breathe into just the left lung. Let's do so. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Lifting, coming back to center. And let's step left foot through. Finding that psoas muscle again. The muscle that connects the lower body to the upper body. It also is connected through connective tissue to our diaphragm. So it's a very important muscle for anybody to work on, and also actors specifically, because it governs so much. Posture, stability, breath, openness. If we'd like, let's find those goal-posted arms. Full breath in here. Tuck that tail under, and maybe we flow. Elbows, forearms, palms to touch or near. The inhale opens up and the exhale closes. Maybe you'd like to feel a little bit of tightness in the biceps here, squeezing them. Let's take one more. And open back up into that cactus shape. Lift the gaze to where the ceiling and wall meet. Soften in the face. We can feel a whole lift all the way from that right knee to the heart. And on an exhale, we'll frame the foot and just send those hips back any amount until we experience sensation in the back of left leg. And let's start to flow that. Inhale, we'll come on forward. Engage from that bottom up. Maybe we find goalpost, maybe hands just come to thigh. Exhale, send hips back into that little half monkey pose is what it's called. Inhale, we'll come on, lifting. Exhaling, lowering. Taking one or two more or staying in a shape that feels right. And let's inhale, crawl on forward. Plant those palms. Come back to that tabletop position and we notice. What am I experiencing in my body right now? Starting to curl those toes under. Let's bring a little bit more fire into the belly here, shining the elbows, the eyes of the elbows here forward and hovering those knees any amount off the mat. Again, we're shifting the weight into the pads of the fingers and the knuckles rather than the wrists. Full breath in here. Welcome in that warmth. It'll help you open. And ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? Big breath in. Sigh it out as you lower. Let's take one more child's pose before we find our next small sequence here. You choose what variation of child's pose. And when you're ready, come back up. Let's extend that left leg out long. This time we'll bring that knee towards the nose. Inhale, extend like we were kicking the wall behind us. Knee to nose, breath out. One more. Knee to nose. And we'll step that left foot forward, curling back toes under. Noticing something different here. Hands coming to thighs, we'll rise up into a high lunge. Let's bring a lot of energy to the back toes. And we're simply going to open the arms. I'm going to face you for a second. Open the arms, palms to the sky externally, rotating those arms open, those shoulders open. Full breath in and complete breath out. Breath in, we'll straighten the front leg, arms coming overhead. Exhale, open with the arms sink back into the front knee. And we're just going to flow back and forth like that. Feeling the energy start at the feet and travel up all the way to the tips of the fingers as we extend to our tallest. One more. Nice and tall. And then we're going to open wide like a big starfish. Exhale, bending knees, hands coming to thighs, and just rock a little bit. Again, we're going for movement. Not necessarily for peak poses. Notice how my shoulders are all crunchy up towards my ears. What I can do is roll them back, giving the strength back into my legs here rather than my arms, just dumping my weight. Sitting back with the shoulders like I were leaned up against a wall. I'm going to take that left forearm onto that left thigh and just reach up with the right arm. A little sway might feel nice here. We can even take that bicep by the ear, palm facing the ground. And if we could, we're going to breathe into that right lung only, creating so much space in those intercostals. Exhale, come back to center. Notice a little tremor in the legs, that's great. Right hand faces sky, right forearm to thigh. Left arm reaches up. And let's reach with a purpose here, reach with an intention. Remind yourselves why you're here. Remind yourselves of the intention collectively to open. Maybe we take bicep by ear. And if we could, we're going to breathe into that left lung only. Coming back to center. And take a moment, wiggle it out. Let's inhale, lift. Reach up like that 5-pointed star. Exhale, goalpost in the arms, sink. This is goddess pose, woman warrior, very powerful. And we'll flow that. Inhale, rise. Maybe you even find fists pulling something down that's really important to you. That visualization can be really helpful. And make sure those toes are tracking same direction as the knees. Let's take 1 or 2 more. Exhale, come back into that goddess pose. Shoulders down and back, chin to chest. Right ear to right shoulder. Chin to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin to chest. Hands to those thighs. And we'll drop the left shoulder in, the right shoulder back. Twisting. Take it back to center, opposite side. Right in, left back. Center. Straighten the legs, toes forward, maybe even in slightly. Soften in the knees, hinge from those hips. Let's find a forward fold here. Wide-legged forward fold. You choose the distance that you need to go today. But feel as though any spiraling thoughts in the mind are pouring out onto the mat beneath you. Inhale, finding the fingertips back to the mat. And we'll crawl over towards the right foot, dropping the left knee on flipping toes. Planting palms, extend the right leg long, knee to nose 1. Extend, knee to nose 2. Extend, last one, knee to nose. Extend, and drop the knee. Find some organic movement here. Moving in the hips. And we're going to find the fingertips facing one another. Elbows bowing out wide. Drop the chin, drop the chest, and wag the tail here. Coming back up, press into those palms. We're going to replace the elbows down as the palms. So elbows underneath the shoulders. Inhale for a cow here, drop belly, lift gaze. How does that feel different? Exhaling, rounding into that cat. Let's take one more. And coming back to center. We're just going to gently set those hips down, moving into our Sphinx pose. This is really, really good for the low back. It's really great for the throat to be open, which is a great thing to have when you're acting and in a scene, right? So let's walk those feet. They can either come wider or stay parallel. Pointing the toes, press the tops of feet, press forearms down, spread fingers. And we're all gonna look at our navels, hug the navel in, and then send the heart forward. Pressing a whole lot into those forearms here. Feeling as though a blue light were shining from that throat out to the wall ahead of you. I have clear communication. A great thing to repeat to yourself as an actor. I have clear communication. As that is what acting is, communicating our wants and our needs. One more time, imagining that blue light shining forward. I have clear communication. And let's start to let that go. Coming to a seat. We're going to tap on some marma points. In Ayurvedic medicine, they are points referred to as marma points that mean vulnerable points. So there's a whole lot to them. You can research it, marma, M-A-R-M-A, if you are really interested. But basically, we're just going to tap on them, massage them, and see what happens. So take a nice deep breath. Soften in the shoulders, soften in the eyes. We're going to take our 2 peace fingers and find the outside of our eyebrows and a little bit on top. And we're just going to massage this area. This marma has to do with sight. Something we definitely use on stage, how we perceive, how we see things. As we're taking deep breaths here, maybe we repeat to ourselves, I see clearly. I see clearly. And let it go. Taking those same 2 peace fingers and finding there's a little bump on the back of your ears. It's not so little, it's actually quite bulbous feeling. But then you feel a muscle from that little bulbous bony bit that comes down. So that's when you know you're at the right place. So it's just behind your ears, and we're going to massage that area. This area, this marma, stimulates the way we hear, our hearing sense. And we'll just repeat, I am listening. I am listening. Something we absolutely need to do as actors. Listen to what we are being given. And from those little listening marma points, we're going to go down that big muscle that you feel draws down the neck, sort of in between where the Adam's apple is. Be very gentle here, just a gentle circular massage. And you guessed it, this one in the throat has to do with speech, speaking. I speak my truth. As actors, we have to sort of don other people's truths, making them our own truths in that moment. I speak truth. I speak truth. And let that go. Chin coming to chest. Right ear coming to right shoulder. Chin coming back to chest. Left ear over to left shoulder. One more time, chin to chest. Take that gaze forward. Slightly drop the chin so that we're calming those frontal lobes. If you'd like, you can elevate the hips. And we are going to end with our alternate nostril breath. So for our alternate nostril breath, it is going to calm and soothe both hemispheres of the mind. So rather than activating and lighting it up, it's going to dim it. Find a nice ease. So let's take those peace fingers either to the third eye, that place between the brow bone, or you can tuck it in between the palm. That's really hard for my fingers for some reason, but some people really like it. So whatever feels right, either on the brow bone or tucked in. And then taking left nostril plugged by ring finger, breathe in through the right. Plug the right nostril with the right thumb, and breathe out through the left nostril. Inhale, breathe through the left. We'll plug the left nostril, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Plug the right nostril, breathe out through the left. So we're creating a horseshoe shape breath, balancing both our creative and analytical brain, and activating our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system where we don't feel any imminent danger coming our way, where we can relax, where our body physically knows that it's safe to relax. Continuing with this alternate nostril breath. And that parasympathetic nervous system is absolutely a place where we want to be, not only always in everyday life, but definitely as an actor on stage. Concentration and relaxation, as Stanislavski says. Let's take a couple more rounds. And then let it go. Take that right hand to belly, the left hand to heart, and breathe into that right hand. Let the torso fill, the left hand lifts as the chest lifts. And then we empty all the way out. 2 more breaths like that. And we'll take the hands together, palms together. And at the end of yoga classes, we say namaste. And that means the light within me honors the light within you, honoring all of our teachers, everyone who has influenced us, and the fact that we are here together experiencing yoga and union. So, namaste. Thank you so much for watching. This was a rather long class, but I packed it full of a lot of different tools that I definitely use in a pinch if I'm running from work to, like when I was a student, running from work to class or from class to performance or whatever the case may be. You can do that alternate nostril breath to find some peace in just 3 minutes before you go into rehearsal. Obviously, it'd be nice to have an hour before everything, every performance, every class, every blah, blah, blah. But we don't always get that luxury. So you can absolutely take little tidbits from this class. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.